I only have one message to give you. I don't care what you think of me. I don't care what you call me. I do care what you do with this information because it is important to our survival as a species.
Hey guys, this video is going to be about basically Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, relocation, Fema camps, all that stuff. So let's get into it. So what prompted me to make this video was I read this article right here, a local article out of Arkansas, Little Rock, I believe. National Guard medics gear up to help COVID-19 quarantine isolation facility. The National Guard help with everything from supplying clothing and doing laundry to providing 3 meals a day and monitoring patients' health. Alright. Thursday, the Arkansas Department of Health shared more info about its run and its purpose. We signed up to do this job, and it's just everything that we've wanted to do, Arkansas National Guard Private First Class Bailey Hill said. Starting next week, 14 Arkansas National Guardsmen will be assisting with the only quarantine isolation facility in the state. Remember, it's not going to be overnight, and it's not going to be in every location. First, they're going to do a little beta test. They're going to see how it goes, see how people react, and then it will be implemented nationwide. For all we know, they don't already have them set up, ready to go, which is what I'm going to get into in a second. But basically, they just said that they're going to set one up, and it's the only one in the state. Okay. We have come in basically to assist the staff that is already there. We are providing patient care. We are providing meals to patients, Hill said. Hill, whatever. They'll help with everything from supplying clothing and doing laundry to providing 3 meals a day and monitoring patients' health. We're just there. We're always ready to go. It's mainly just to help out with the community. Just to help anywhere that we can in the state, Heil said. The Arkansas Department of Health said the facility was open in an undisclosed location. If it's just to house people in quarantine, why would it need to be undisclosed? At the end of March, as a way to help people who don't have options to isolate. If they are homeless, we provide an opportunity to stay at the facility. Yeah, provide an opportunity. Basically saying, get the fuck in, you have no choice. Remember all those homeless people disappearing? I don't know if you followed that the last couple of years when they were disappearing them off the streets. We provide an opportunity to stay at the facility and do isolation during the quarantine period. Also, it's meant for people who are living in a multi-generational house setting. Dr. Apothry, whatever, some fucking weird name, said. There are 29 rooms in the facility and there are no cost to patients. It's not a hospital, but doctors and medics do monitor people's conditions to ensure they're healthy before returning to society. Sounds like a re-education camp. Because they said it's not a hospital. They just monitor people's condition to ensure they're healthy before returning to society. That's very vague. Very ambiguous. If they are individuals, we will put them in a private room. If they are family members, a couple of them, we would put them in one room. So, they all have their bathrooms and TV, and all the amenities they need, Dr. Bala said. An ADH spokesperson said they've provided information to all state hospitals on the facility as well as homeless shelters. So, they're basically saying they're going to set up camps, and they're going to bring you there. And with all this contact tracing and everything else that they're planning on doing, and you already have the federal troops snatching people off the street, Department of Homeland Security going around in unmarked vehicles snatching people up, it's no wonder that they're going to start doing this, and then, for all we know, the people they're snatching up are just dissidents. They could come to your house in the middle of the night. I could get, bag and tagged at 3 a.m. It could happen. My point is, you should be very concerned that this is even a thing that they're talking about. Remember that other couple? I don't know if it was Arkansas, Texas, I can't remember, I'd have to look it up, but it was a couple that refused to quarantine and they had to put bracelets on, ankle monitors, put under house arrest as a non-criminal. You know what I mean? For a disease that admittedly hasn't been isolated and identified in a lab, a disease that they test for and half the time it's inaccurate by their own admission. So flip a coin, you got it, flip a coin, you don't. They're trying to control you and literally change your entire way of living for something that you can't even prove exists now. I say this because I'd like to get into this. Homeland Security taps new partner in terror fight, Walmart. By month's end, 588 stores will participate in the See Something, Say Something campaign. This is an older article. Let me see when it was published. I don't know if I'll be able to, but anyway, this is an older one. But Janet Napolitano said this: Homeland Security starts with hometown security, and each of us plays a critical role in keeping our country and communities safe, she said. This partnership will help millions of shoppers across the nation identify and report indicators of terrorism, crime, and other threats to law enforcement authorities. You notice how they said, and other threats to law enforcement authorities? It doesn't say threats to people, threats to society. No, threats to law enforcement authorities. And what constitutes a threat? Terrorism. Well, what constitutes terrorism? What constitutes crime? Because let's say, for example, you live in one state where a gun is legal, you buy it, and then you travel through another state and you forget that it's on you. You're now a criminal because you don't have a license to carry in that other state and they don't offer reciprocity. You cross an imaginary line, suddenly you went from being a law-abiding citizen to a criminal. So it's really just as simple as that. It's just someone determining what a criminal is and determining what terrorism is, what crime is. So terrorism. All you have to do to constitute to be a terrorist now is just disagreeing with what the media, what the government, and what the, talking figureheads in the public, scientific community and things like that have to say. If you question that, you are a terrorist. So this partnership will help millions of shoppers across the nation identify and report indicators of terrorism, crime, and other threats to law enforcement authorities. Authorities. They gave themselves the authority. You helped give them the authority. At least 200 Walmart stores will roll out security announcements within 24 hours. Walmart spokesperson Dan Fogelman said by month's end, 588 stores in 27 states will be participating in the program. Maybe it's just me, but I have a feeling that they really underplayed that number. Don't you? A short video featuring Napolitano will appear on TV screens at select checkout lanes, asking Walmart shoppers to contact local law enforcement to report suspicious activity. How fucking Orwellian is that, huh? You're going to have the head of, just the name Homeland Security in and of itself, but you're going to have a talking face, an authority figure, tell you as you're buying, Oreos at Walmart, remember, if someone next to you is a terrorist, call this line. Just that concept in and of itself is incredibly fucking frightening. But think about it, guys. There's a Walmart where? Everywhere. There's a Walmart in the smallest, rural, most fucking nowhere town in the United States. I've been to every state. I can tell you for a fact, there's way more Walmarts. There's Walmarts in places that you'd be like, why the fuck do they even have one there? There's one a mile down the road. Why do they need two? They're all over in an abundance. It's like that Louis Black joke, or I think his name, Louis Black, the comedian, where he talks about the Starbucks being next to another Starbucks. It's the same thing. It's all over the country. It's and if you think about it, what are the only things open right now? Big chain stores. So you have to go inside Walmart, you have to go inside Home Depot, you have to go inside Lowe's. You know what I mean? You really can't go anywhere like a mom and pop shop because they can't stay open because they can't afford to stay open, essentially, and they have to follow so many rules that it's almost like not even who wants to be open. If you have a restaurant, you can only have people eat outside and everyone has to be 6 feet apart and you have to put glass. It's I'd rather just fucking quit and call it a day at that point if I ran a business. And they even said over half small businesses aren't coming back by the end of the year, because we've been shut down for so long. But you have a Walmart, right? You have a Walmart everywhere you go. And what's inside those Walmarts now? You have these lines on the ground telling you where to go, how far away to stand from the next person. And you know what I mean? They want you to wear a mask. They tell you how to dress when you enter. They're conditioning you. They're getting you ready because Walmarts, in my opinion, are probably going to be used as concentration camps. They're not going to call them concentration camps, but that's what they are. Arkansas National Guard is already taking people to quote-unquote quarantine isolation facilities. Walmart already has a contract with Homeland Security to fight terror. Now check this out. Here's a look inside of a FEMA camp. Immigration Detention Center for Children.
They are nearing capacity and...
See if I can get this to play. Come on. Whatever. Alright. For the first time since the Trump administration announced its zero-tolerance policy on illegal immigration, a small group of journalists were allowed into the country's largest licensed shelter for undocumented children. Imagine being 10 years old, separated from your mother or father, not understanding why, and being taken to a hulking, windowless building filled with 1,500 other kids you've never met. You're allowed to make 2 phone calls a week, one of which, hopefully is to a detained parent now thousands of miles away. That's the reality we saw. I mean, this could be propaganda. This could just be bullshit. It is ABC News. The shelter is clean and well-staffed with activities to keep the kids busy and their minds off the unfortunate situation. The kids we saw, for the most part, looked content. Yeah, I bet. No crying. No one slouched in a corner alone. Why even say that if it didn't happen? But this was also a media tour, and journalists weren't allowed to interview any of the children. Who knows what happens when the lights go out and they're left alone with their thoughts? So it says the facility is called Casa Padre, Father House. It's in Brownsville, Texas, in what was once a Walmart. About 1,500 boys aged 10 to 17 now call it home. It's the biggest licensed facility in the country. The vast majority of the boys cross illegally and unaccompanied, sure. But Casa Padre is nearing capacity as more children are separated from their parents at the border and shipped there. So what they just told me is that they have a giant facility housing a bunch of children who no one knows who they are. No one knows exactly how many are in there, just what they tell us. They're a bunch of boys from like 10 to 13, and none of them are crying. They're all content. Everyone's happy. Okay, and they're using a former Walmart to do it there. So, really, what this is telling me is, hey, pedophiles, here's where you go to buy the children. We're holding them there. Yeah, we're going to call it a immigration facility, sure. Come on in, there's no parents, pick what ones you want, and, leave, buy 2, get 1 free, The children get 3 daily meals and 2 snacks. They have access to video games, pool tables, classes where they can learn English and U.S. civics, sure. Children are each assigned a clinician, to help them deal with separation trauma and mental health issues, okay. The children spend so instead of trying to find these people's parents, like getting their first name, last name, and like calling their countries of origin and saying, hey, we have this kid here, they're basically just like, well, this is your new life. Forget your old life, and here you go. Here's a teddy bear and a cot. Shut up. That's basically what they're saying. So we have Walmarts being used as detention centers, former Walmarts, whatever. There's videos you can find online, people driving by Walmarts under construction that have these giant fences put in and all this stuff. And I've already told you, there's a Walmart everywhere you go, and you know that to be true because wherever you live in the U.S. watching this video right now, there's probably a Walmart where you live or very close to it, But I guess unless you live in like the middle of Wyoming or something, but you have all these Walmarts and they're putting tape on the ground telling you where to go, telling you what direction, how far to stand away from the next person, etc., 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 conditioning you to be a prisoner essentially. And then you have this right here. So there is a state of emergency declared nationwide. This is the first time this has happened in the United States history, by the way. Remember hearing about that on the quote-unquote news? And it says, this is a little article, it says, FEMA has more power than the President of the United States or the Congress. It has the power to suspend laws and move entire populations. Remember this right here. And move entire populations. Arrest and detain citizens without a warrant and hang them without trial. It can seize property, food supplies, transportation systems, and can suspend the Constitution. This is a fact. This has been declared nationwide. You can look it up. When a state of emergency is declared, Executive Order 11921 allows the Federal Emergency Preparedness Agency to develop plans to establish control of the mechanisms of production, food distribution, of energy resources, wages, salary, and control, flow of money in U.S. financial institutions in any undefined national emergency. It also provides that when a state of emergency is declared by the President, Congress cannot review the actions for 6 months. Okay? So once it's set in place, 6 months, boom, you cannot do anything about it. Can't repeal it, nothing. We noticed an accelerated timeline, too. This started happening fast. Once they started giving themselves powers and people started locking themselves down, they really went for it. They said, all right, people are going to listen to it. Let's see how far we can take this. And look where we are. Order number 12656 appointed the National Security Council as the principal body that would consider emergency powers. This allows the government to increase domestic intelligence and surveillance of U.S. citizens and would restrict the freedom of movement in the United States and grant the government the right to isolate large groups of civilians. Grant the government the right to isolate large groups of civilians. What did I just show you? I showed you an article, local article, Arkansas National Guard medics gear up to help COVID-19 quarantine isolation facility. Isolate large groups of civilians. The National Guard, who were we just reading about, could be federalized. Now that means that they're not going to be Title 32. That means they're going to be Title 10. That means that the National Guard is now essentially active duty Army and under control directly by the President and, people under him, as opposed to the governors respectively. So if you see the National Guard get federalized, when you see that, it's going to happen next. Remember, Trump said that he wants to use the military to give you a vaccine, and he wants to do it by the fall. They have 6 months of time before anything can get appealed or questioned, so they're going to have to do this within that timeline. So when you see the National Guard being federalized, that's going to be your little red flag to know that shit's really, really, really going to hit the fan, and you really need to get worried. You need to arm yourself. You need to have a lot of ammo. If you haven't been doing this already and you haven't been preparing, you really need to. You need to make some friends real quick, especially if you're in real, draconian gun control states. You need to make something happen. There's ways to do it, all right? There's ways to do it. The internet is your friend, all right? Arm yourself. Have food. Have water. Have a water filtration system, have reverse osmosis. I had to, chip in with my brother. We bought a $250 under the sink reverse osmosis system. Works great. I think it's from Express Water Systems. They have them on HomeDepot.com. They give you extra filters. The filters that they have already are good for about 6 months. So you got about a year's worth of water filtration right there. Reverse osmosis is about as good as it can get. Make sure you do supplement. You don't need fluoride, but you do need, the positively charged particles and all that shit in your water. You need the minerals and trace elements and all that. But what I'm saying is you want to be prepared, guys, because once you hear that they're getting federalized, all bets are off. That's when you're going to start seeing checkpoints everywhere. That's when you're going to start being like, oh shit. Even normies who have no idea about any of this stuff and who mock people like us on the daily if you try to bring it up, even those people are going to be like, oh, what the fuck, man? They're not even going to know how to react. You know what I mean? If Facebook goes down or Instagram, Snapchat, something like that, you're going to see suicide spike like fucking nothing, The National Guard could be federalized to seal all borders. What did we notice? They're not issuing passports anymore, are they, right? Because of COVID, supposedly. You can't really go. There's a list of countries. I mean, I could pull it up. My internet's slow, but I could. Or you could look it up where they show the current countries that are actually allowing American citizens in, and it's very few. Take control of U.S. airspace and all ports of entry. Executive Order 13074, Amendment to Executive Order 12656, the one I mentioned before, by the authority vested in me as President, by the United States, or by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, and in order to reflect the appropriate allocation of funding responsibilities for non-combatant evacuation operations. Non-combatant evacuation operations. Remember, they said that they're going to have the power to move mass groups of people, large populations. It is thereby ordered that Executive Order 12656 is amended by adding a new section 50116 to read as follows. Executive Order 109990 allows the government to take over all modes of transportation and control of highways and seaports. Okay. So now they can control where you're going. Look at the states. They have states now where if you enter, you have to mandatorily quarantine if you're from a certain state, right? Eventually it's just going to be, hey, don't leave at all. Don't leave your house for any reason, which they really want. I mean, what was it? Maryland, I don't know if it was the governor, mayor, someone there said, don't leave the state, essentially. So we have FEMA getting all this power. We have FEMA, DHS and Walmart working all in cahoots to basically set up these centers, isolation centers, that they're going to use to quote-unquote treat people in quarantine for COVID-19. Now, let's see if I can pull this up. All right, here's Agenda 21, and I'm going to give you the definition right off Wikipedia, okay? No, I'm not going to donate to you, you faggots. All right. Agenda 21 is a non-binding action plan of the United Nations. Non-binding, right? We're being forced to do it, so it doesn't seem too non-binding to me. But Agenda 21 is a non-binding action plan of the United Nations with regards to sustainable development. It is a product of the Earth Summit, UN Conference on Environment and Development, held in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil in 1992. It is an action agenda for the UN, other multilateral organizations, and individual governments around the world that can be executed at local, national, and global levels. The 21 in Agenda 21 refers to the original target of the 21st century, where they were hoping to achieve their development goals by then. It has been affirmed and had a few modifications at subsequent UN conferences. Since it found 2000 was an overly optimistic date, its new timeline is targeting 2030. Its aim is to achieve global sustainable development. One major objective of the Agenda 21 initiative is that every local government should draw its own local Agenda 21. Since 2015, sustainable development goals are included in the newer Agenda 2030. Okay, now let's look up the definition of sustainable development. Sustainable development is the organizing principle for meeting human development goals while simultaneously sustaining the ability of natural systems to provide the natural resources and ecosystem services on which the economy and society depends. So basically keeping things in balance, all right, with the amount of people and the amount of needs those people have. The desired result is a state of society where living conditions and resources are used to continue to meet human needs without undermining the integrity and stability of the natural system. Sustainable development can be defined as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So, like I said, they want balance. Look at the Georgia Guidestones. In fact, I'm actually going to pull that up right now. Alright, let's see if I can pull up a picture that will let me actually read it. Maintain humanity. Alright, here we go. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Eugenics, right? Unite humanity with a living new language. One language, one world. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Sure. Protect people, and nations with fair laws and just courts. See if I can get this down. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Okay, so that's admitting right there that there will be an ultimate deciding factor, and it will be international in scope, and basically anything you have locally will be superseded by that. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Hey, kind of agree with that, right? Balance personal rights with social duties. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Be not a cancer on the earth, leave room for nature, leave room for nature. So that whole maintain people under 500 million, leave room for nature, what they want to do, remember, oops, I just closed that out. They're going to have the ability to move large mass populations in groups of people, and their goal to do it is by 2030. Alright? Now let's look at something right here. This is a website. It's called Degel.com, DELGEL.com. And this website is used by intelligence groups because it's accurate at forecasting, years in advance, things like GDP, population, all these little categories right here. They use this site essentially as a way to accurately forecast things in the future. So now what I'm going to show you is proof that that is true. So this is WikiLeaks, and it says, on Monday, February 27th, 2012, WikiLeaks began publishing the global intelligence files, over 5 million emails from the Texas-headquartered global intelligence company Stratfor. You might have heard that because there's rumors that InfoWars is actually part of Stratfor. It's part of their controlled opposition and their way to gather intelligence on people. The emails date between July 2004 and late December 2011. They reveal the inner workings of a company that fronts as an intelligence publisher, but provides confidential intelligence services to large corporations such as Bhopal's Dow Chemical Company, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, and government agencies, including the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. These guys keep popping up, huh? The U.S. Marines, and the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency. The emails show Stratfor's web of informers, payoff structure, payment laundering techniques, and psychological methods. Web of informers. So what I did was I pulled that document up. And I'm going to go to it. So what you can do on your computer, Windows, Linux, whatever, is hit Control F. And that allows you to search for specific words. So DEAGEL, return. Okay, this is from the document. Now they use this to gather an assessment on North Korea. They use this website as a way to accurately gauge what they were getting themselves into as far as an operation they want to do in North Korea. So, variant with solid propellant missile engine. A Degel.com report dated September 17th, 2010 provides an estimated range of 1,553 miles to 2,485 miles for the Taipodong X, sufficient to target Japan and Guam. However, in October 1st, 2003, U.S. Congressional Research Service report puts the range as up to 9,400 miles. As of 2009, it was reportedly still in development. So this website is used by intelligence agencies to get accurate predictions. So why is that important? Okay, this is why it's important. When you look at this site, right, it's projecting right now, the year is 2017 when this came out, and they are projecting 2025, right? The population was 327 million. Right there, right? World figures, 7.4 billion. Forecast for 2025. Population, 100 million. Where did the other 227 million go? Do you see that? Where did 227 million go? Trump wants to give, 300 million doses about, he said, a vaccine by the fall? Using the military? The same military that's going to put people in isolation facilities, right? You know? Why are they predicting 227 million people are going to be dead? You need to think about that. This is an intelligence site compiling data used by actual agencies. CIA, DIA, Stratfor apparently. They think this is pretty accurate. So if they think this is pretty accurate, and you see everything going on right now, and you see the feds buying tons and tons of ammo and weapons, Social Security Administration, the Veterans Administration, all these groups of people, National Institute of Health and Human Services, all buying weapons and weapons and ammo, stocking up like it's going to be Armageddon just a few years ago. I made a video on that the other day. Why do you have all that? Why are these people preparing for something colossal? Why are we not allowed to leave our house? You know, why are they resetting the economy? Why are they doing all this? Remember, they have the ability to move large groups of people into different places, right? And the population is going to be gone. So is that going to be emigration? Are they going to be going elsewhere? Are they going to be leaving the United States? Are they going to be dead? Is the vaccine going to contain something killing a bunch of people? Who knows? I'm just telling you guys, this stuff is real. You can think it's fake. You can think people like me are fucking idiots. That's fine. I really don't care, because we're past that point. What we should be looking at is the information. This is real stuff, guys. This isn't stuff they're going to tell you on CNN. They're not going to tell you on Fox. They're not going to tell you on all these controlled opposition networks. All the media is owned by, what, 5 companies? They're not going to tell you about this. Guys, you need to seriously be concerned. If they're already openly talking about using the National Guard, and Trump is talking about, hey, fuck the Constitution, I'm going to take over all the cities and send in, unmarked federal troops with no insignia, no rank, name tags, nothing. I'm going to send them all in, just snatch people off the street, not answer a question, not read you your rights, disappear you. They're going to put people in isolation facilities, put ankle bracelets on people to monitor them when they refuse to quarantine. When they set these contact tracing jobs up, oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to pull something else up right now. Did you guys remember the UN disarmament officer job postings that were posted last year before all this started happening? And if you didn't, let me actually show you, all right? This is off the UN's own website. Remember, use their own words. This is not conspiracy. This is them saying it. People need to get that through their heads, all right? This is the UN's own website. Job posting, job title, Disarmament, Demobilization, and Reintegration Officer. What were we just talking about? They're going to take people and they're going to put them in camps. They're going to mobilize them and put them in camps. Reintegration. Guys, these people want to take your guns, round you up, and force you into a detainment center. And they call it the Department of Peace Operations. This was posted the 26th of December last year, and it was good until February of this year, before they closed it. And this is out of New York, guys. Disarmament officers. This position is located in the Disarmament, Demobilization, and Reintegration section of the Office of Rule of Law and Security Institutions within the Department of Peacekeeping Operations in New York. New York is classified as a hardship duty station and family duty station. The incumbent reports to and is under the overall supervision of the DDR section chief. Now let's see. Some of the responsibilities. Acts as a focal point for disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration components for 2 to 3 missions, responsible for planning support to implementation and evaluation. Let's see. I mean, guys, this should scare you. They did this right when they were just starting to talk about the pandemic that they simulated in October of 2019. The first cases reported in December of 2019. The UN suddenly starts looking for jobs like this in December of 2019. Now, all the way in July, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, that's 8 months. When did they declare the state of emergency? Let me look that up. Remember, that was the first time in United States history. Let me see, I think this is on the White House's own site. Because remember, guys, FEMA, once that goes into effect, they have 6 months. 6 months. Okay. Check this out. This is off the White House's own site, guys. On March 11th, 2020, the World Health Organization announced that the COVID-19 outbreak can be characterized as a pandemic, as the rates of infection continue to rise in many locations around the world and across the United States. The spread of COVID-19 within our nation's communities threatened to strain our nation's healthcare systems. As of March 12, 2020, 1,645 people from 47 states have now been infected with the virus that causes COVID. It is incumbent on hospitals and medical facilities throughout the country to assess their preparedness posture and be prepared to surge capacity and capability. Additional measures, however, are needed to successfully contain and combat the virus in the United States. Now, therefore, I, Donald J. Dickface, President of the United States, by the authority vested in me by nothing, and the laws of the United States of America, allegedly, including Sections 201 and 301 of the National Emergencies Act, and consistent with the Section 1135 of the Social Security Act, as amended, 42 U.S. Code 1320B-5, do hereby find and proclaim that the COVID-19 outbreak in the United States constitutes a national emergency, beginning March 1st, 2020. March, April, May, June, July, August. So guys, that gives you until September 1st. September 1st. He wants to use the military to deploy 300 million doses of vaccine by the fall. 6 months before this gets reviewed. Remember, they have 6 months, guys. September 1st. Anyone else noticing an acceleration of things? Troops being placed on the streets? Troops moving people to isolation centers in Arkansas? If you think that this is just going to stay in one place, you're nuts, guys. I'm telling you. Be vigilant. Be mindful. If you start seeing, unusual vehicle traffic, in front of your house, document it. If you start noticing, people hanging around your neighborhood you haven't really seen before, document it. If you have to participate, by going to a grocery store to feed your family and you have no choice, refuse to wear a mask. Refuse it. Don't put a mask on. If someone tells you to stand 6 feet apart from someone, refuse to. Don't do it. You have a choice. You can say no. And if we end up slaves, it's because we wanted to be slaves. It's because we demanded our own slavery. We just wanted it and had to have it because we wanted safety. But remember, if you're willing to trade, freedom for safety and security, you deserve neither. And that couldn't be more true, honestly. I would take dangerous freedom over peaceful servitude any day. I would literally rather die on my feet than live on my knees, honestly. Because what are the choices, What's the alternative? What kind of life do you want to give your children? I don't have children. This is easier for me to say. I can be all gung-ho about this. The reason I didn't have kids was because I knew this world was garbage, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to bring a child into this world because then I'm responsible, and I guess in my head I thought it would make me a bad person. But I'm not against that. Now I kind of wish I would have had a child, just because. I'm only 29 and I still could, but I mean, good luck trying to find a woman who is not completely batshit fucking crazy now. But that's really anyone my generation, I guess. But yeah, dating is almost impossible, especially when you know what I know, because it's just an exercise in futility to even try. But I wish I would have had a kid, but I really don't want him to be in this world. So for me, being a single guy, just riding this out, watching everything decay around me, it's just it's enough to make me feel like I'm going crazy. Like, I really feel like I'm one of the last few sane people in the world, and it's just like, that expression, if everyone jumped off a bridge, would you? Apparently the answer is yes for a lot of people. I thought more people would fight back. I honestly didn't think it was going to get this far. I like, as soon as I started seeing, lockdowns and, people have to go inside and curfews, I'm like, yeah, there's no way anyone's going to go along with this. But they did. and it scares the hell out of me. And like I said, if I go somewhere now without, wearing a mask, which I don't wear a mask, so, and I try not to go out, honestly, because I just hate confrontations with people, because it's hard for me to keep my cool, because I can't deal with ignorance well. I'm not a misanthrope, but, it's hard for me to relate to people, because they're just on a different wavelength for the most part, and I don't wear a mask, and I get looked at like I'm some type of fucking, creep or something. People look at me like, oh my god, he's not wearing a mask, what a fucking douche. Like, and it's like, it just astounds me, guys. You guys are gonna have to make a decision sooner or later. We don't have a lot of time. We really don't. Like, it scares me. The only reason I even started making YouTube videos is because it seems like a lot of people in the truth community, to me, they're focusing on things that don't matter. They're focusing on, like, stupid shit that just like, oh, when things get better, when it's like, it's not going to get better. It's not going to go back to normal. The only people who are covering real shit, people like Memory Hole, people like Titus Frost, people like Fullerton Informer, Richie from Boston, StopTheCrime.net, Deborah Tavares, Corbett Report. There's a couple others. Max Egan, Crowhouse, he got taken out. Dan Dix, Press for Truth, he got taken out. Russian Vids got taken out. John X Army got taken out. There's a lot of people who have been saying this stuff for years and years and years, and now they're just starting to bring the hammer down. And I mean, I just started YouTube, but for all I know, I could get my account terminated, and what would I be able to do? I guess I would just make a new one and keep going, or go to another profile, as long as or get another website, platform, whatever. But I just have to get information out there. I need you guys to know what matters and what to focus on. In my opinion, obviously this is just my opinion, but I think I'm on the money, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong about a lot of things, but I do present the information. I use their own words, and it's really not my opinion a lot of the time. I have a hard time keeping my opinion to myself, but But anyway, I'm gonna let this video die. I ramble way too much, and I didn't intend to make like 40-minute videos when I started. I just I thought it was gonna be like 5-minute videos, but I guess that's not my style. So you guys take care. This will be my last video for the day anyway, so God bless. Research, and please think for yourself. Please actually look at this information, guys, and spread it. Tell people. Don't be silent, please.